guys, welcome to the fish room. I'm Rachel O'Leary and this is the 150 modified loop system with all the dwarf Asian hill stream and the rainbow shiners. A few of you have asked me to show my maintenance routine, so I thought I would do that for you today since I don't actually have to ship fish today for once. I've turned off the filter, which is an FX5 that's plumbed to my corner half moon matin filter. Just because when I do maintenance on this tank, as the water level drops, it sprays everywhere. So yeah, I'm going to start by doing some gravel vacuuming. I'm just barely on my tiptoes tall enough to get the siphon into the bottom of the tank to do this. I do have my step ladder nearby if I need it. It's really important with these fish that I keep things very clean. See, there's not a whole lot of mulm coming out. Excuse me, fish. I just pinch off the hose to release all my substrate because it's relatively fine, and then I'll come back in a bit with my spatula tool and even things out the way I like it. A lot of the mulm being found in here is coming from all this wood that I have, so I'm focusing a lot of my efforts back in this corner where the bulk of the wood is and where my substrate is the thickest. Now that I've done that, I'm just gonna do a water change, just drop the water level, and while that's being drained, I'm going to clean the interior glass, pick some pest snails, and prune some plants. It's really challenging for me to do this in this tank, just because I'm short and there's a lot of distortion when I look down on the tank like this. So I'm pretty grateful that I don't have to do a lot of hard work on it, and that's part of the reason I chose all the easy plants that I did. So I get a little bit of green spot algae on the glass, but I think that's pretty normal. Try and scrape that off once a week. Just because it's easier to keep up with that way. I think one of the questions I get asked the most is what will eat that, and the reality is an algae scraper. I have to climb down from time to time to see if I've missed any spots. And again, I have my tube, my siphon tube running to my sink, and it's attached there with a clip from a clip lamp, just to make sure it doesn't fall on the floor. I routinely flood my fish room. This side over here gets more of the spot algae. It gets a little bit of brown algae right down there. All in all though, it really is a pretty easy tank to maintain. And again, I just worry about the front glass because that's what I'm looking through. This plant down here has really been bothering me. I think I'm going to trim it down today pretty low and see if it comes back, and if it doesn't, I won't mind. But if it does, that's great. Perhaps it just needs some attention. Again, no ferts, no CO2 on this tank, so it all sort of has to survive in pretty dilute water. So I've got my spatula and my scissors and my extremely long tongs. And I'm just going to trim off the leggy portions of this, which again is really hard to do because there's a lot of this. Get out of the way, fish. There's a lot of distortion from up here. And that Rhinogobius is being super nosy, which isn't helping matters. It actually has good root structure, so we'll see. Maybe it'll survive. And then after I'm done trimming, I'll get a net and just collect all the debris that I'm releasing into the water column. Hopefully it'll all float to the surface. I'll pull some of that out. It actually has really good roots, so who knows? Maybe I'll replant that. These Rhinogobius are really nosy about what I'm doing. I think it's because see that male? That's his cave there, so he doesn't like me messing around his baby factory. Just gonna collect up the debris that I've released into the tank before it gets all over the place. And that already looks better. At least it's low and even. The Crypt Willisii here is doing fantastic. I see some fern I might want to pull out. And I need to level out my substrate a bit. So I'm just taking my spatula, and this is also a way that I can disrupt some of the mung that I can't reach with my siphon. I'll just kick that into the water column for the filter to clean up. So as this is refilling, I'm just going to adjust my substrate, and to do that, I mainly just wave it over the surface, and that gives it a more natural fall to how the substrate lies, less contrived, and just evens things out. It also doesn't disrupt the plants, which is nice. You can sort of guide it to where you want it. Now over in this section, that Java fern still isn't doing awesome. I think eventually, as all these bucephalandras fill in, I'll get rid of it entirely. But for now, I'm leaving it because the fish like it, although it's driving me absolutely batty how crappy it's looking. You would think I'd be able to culture Java fern in this tank, but it just might not like how low the nutrient content is. It appears that there's some moss growing in this other bucephalandra too, in the roots, which I'm not sure how it got there, and it wasn't there last week. It's kind of neat how that can happen, and I think it's really cool because that's what happens in nature. Plants get blown around and caught and sort of grow where they thrive, and that's very much my goal for this tank. So after it's done refilling, or as it's refilling, I just wipe down my glass, and then I'll go back and hit any spots that I missed scraping algae. And that's really it for this tank. It's very simple. No ferts, no CO2, just basic maintenance to keep it looking the way I want it to. I'll turn on the filter so you can see how it splashes. You see that's quite a bit of flow. And that's why I turn it off to work on the tank, otherwise I get soaked. I want to show you guys too. I don't know if we'll be able to see or not. I'm going to show you guys on top of my porette foam. I am growing some mosses and liverworts that are not aquatic. So I just placed them, well, and there's some water lettuce that I had in the back there. But I just placed those in there and let them sit on top of that corner filter, and it keeps them in high humidity so that they can grow really well. Maybe someday I'll do a vivarium or something where I need those, so I just thought it was neat. So this is immediately after finishing filling the tank. Everybody's like super excited. Those are the Aramizon, Rhinogobius, the minnows, the shiners putting on a breeding display, or pretending to. The other Rhinogobius male. Everybody's really excited. Everybody's eating the rainbow shiner eggs, presumably. Female Rhinogobius. These Aramizon are ones that I desperately want to get breeding. I just think they're the coolest fish. And their condition looks fantastic, so I'm not sure why they're not yet. But I'm going to keep trying because they're really neat. Here's some of the Gastromyzon variosus type that I put in here. Really like them. They commonly come in under the name Borneo sucker. See, they have that nice yellow color to their back half. Really neat fish. They tend to stick pretty tight on the rocks here. The Soelia. I just love them. Lots of personality. Minnows doing what minnows do. They love this current. You see the shiners just loving it as well. I'm so glad I got these rainbow shiners. They are just awesome. So that's it. The maintenance for the 150. It's all clean and water changed and fun to watch.